what a time to be writing about what maybe you're presenting as masters of the universe in some way here. How did this come to bear? How relevant is it for our time?
I think it's extremely relevant, but it is one of these funny things with television. You write it a year or so before it actually airs, so you're guessing at what might be relevant. And it's a difficult thing to chase, obviously, with tech. It's just moving way too fast to try to anticipate what the next thing is going to be. I think we managed to do that. It's kind of like what sometimes the Defense Department brings in screenwriters to say, like, what would a great weapon be of the future? In a lot of ways, that's what we did in terms of like where we thought tech was going. The therapy bot, things like even aspects that were major news items, like what happened with the VA and Doge and everything like that, is a major story point for us. But we wrote it before that actually happened.
Life imitating art.
Indeed.
Billy, what's interesting is, well, the X Prize actually is going out there at the moment wanting people to come up with more positive views of how technology is going to change, because they want the next phone in the way that was inspired by Star Trek. But for you, how did you get into character? How did you think about this tension that we have of utopia versus, well, dystopia?
Oh, that's quite interesting. I'm basing, as an actor, you take in, you decipher what you see out there. We know all the people in the headlines. We know who is in the tech titans of
Who are you most fascinated by?
All of them, to tell you the truth. I don't want to put names out there, but we know who they are. And then you just take the good, the bad, the ugly, and then you try to build a character through all that and make this melange of a character that I was like, okay, what's interesting to me? What's scary to me? It's just, they're out there. We see them. We know who we are. And the best part about Jonathan Glatzer making the story, there's the tech titans, but Duncan Park is right under them, and he is hungry for it. And it just kind of shows a little bit the toxic nature that can seep into these guys who probably genuinely, when they started, they had hope and had hope to build something positive for the world, and then greed, corruption, all the beautiful things that we see out there seeps in.
So beautiful. Yeah. And I think it was important also for him to be a wannabe titan, for that desperation to be there to fuel the story, but also to not necessarily be influenced by the fame and the spotlight that the people at the very top of the ladder, we see them be like rock stars. And I feel like that desire to be amongst them, it was so important, but not actually being one of them was I guess.
It's a fun world he's created. Actually, it's not. It's just, again, our job is to show a little bit of a mirror to reality. Oh, hey, I hear
Billy,
you.
no, I know you don't want to name names, right? So your character is an audacious data mining CEO. I can tell you, having been in Silicon Valley for a decade.
Agree that's like the oil of that industry?
So how do you prepare for that character? So there are some real-world examples out there of the audacious data mining CEO. Go through the process.
The process of it, honestly, it's just looking and regarding what's out there, and then you slowly just pull back each little layer of it, and you make a beautiful dish out of it. And I think that's the fun part. Again, the world was created in Jonathan Glatzer's mind, and like to have one of the most profound writers of our time, and I'll quote me on that. I think he is absolutely exceptional. That playground then is created for me just to dance on, and I couldn't be more grateful to be a collaborator with this fine gentleman to my right.
Likewise.
Jonathan, I want to respect the specifics of the Audacity and the distinction in genre almost, but I came to San Francisco in 2018 with several seasons of Silicon Valley under my belt, right? And that show so closely aligned with the culture, satirical, poked fun at what it is to be at maybe the lower end of the spectrum, the startup, small scale, early stage. How conscious of that were you, that exists out there, and how much you wanted Audacity to be representative of all of the capital that's here, intellectual and financial capital that underpins the technology industry?
I think that I was a huge fan of Silicon Valley myself. It's brilliant, brilliant satire. It definitely is about a time in the Valley that was a little bit more optimistic, the garage incubator type of culture, and that striving to make it to a place which is, as I said before, is part of what Duncan is going through. But Duncan Park, the character that Billy plays so brilliantly,
Sweetheart.
he had a company prior to this called Fafa, which was about bringing people together, and they would be trading candles and canoes and stuff like that. And then he became a data merchant, a third-party type of data merchant. And I think that what we're showing in our, it's a very different show. It's a much more of a families interacting. There's a psychiatrist is the second lead of the show. But the idea that everybody back in the day was truly optimistic in a genuine way, that they were going to be bringing people together, they were going to lower the barriers in terms of tolerance and people communicating together, and the idea that information is going to be something that's reliable and accessible. And that all kind of went in the opposite direction for the most part. For the most part.
Right.
And but they made a lot of money doing it. And so it was kind of like, wait, we're sort of tearing at society in a lot of ways here, and communication has been completely bifurcated, and people don't seem to be any more tolerant, let alone all the other things that they talked about. But we're making so much money doing it. And maybe this is what people want, And so that sort of cynicism and that I think it just imbued a different chapter in the Silicon Valley story. And hopefully there's a chapter coming up. I don't know when, but hopefully there will be one where they realize that the power that they have is also the power to do good. We'll see.
But also, I love the characters he's created. It is the culture. You're examining the culture that lives inside Silicon Valley now. And I love that dynamic of the whole project. I feel lucky to be part of this project, honestly.